Good morning students, my name is GOVINDH and today we'll be doing a video lecture or a video discussion on the topic called the Kerch Bridge Attack. Yeah. Now students, if you look at the broader context of this issue, the Kerch Bridge Attack, it is your Russia-Ukraine war and the kind of unrest which you are witnessing in that region of the world. Right? Yeah. So the Russia-Ukraine war, which started about a year back and which is still continuing. So a lot of incidents have happened during this 1 year, which has actually resulted in more violence and more uncertainty, right? And with this uncertainty, how long would it take to resolve the Russia-Ukraine issue? It seems to be anybody's guess, right? Now let us look at this issue called, or this event or issue called the Kerch Bridge Attack. Yeah, students, if you look at the broader context, the context of the issue, the Kerch Bridge, the geostrategic significance of this, structure, the geostrategic significance, the Kerch Bridge, which links the Russian mainland to the Crimean Peninsula in the Black Sea, came under attack, Students, if you look, this is the Kerch Bridge, the geostrategic significance or the location, geostrategic location of this structure, and the Taman Bay, the Black Sea, which is also called as Russia's lake, which is strategically very, very significant. The Kerch Strait, which connects the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea, the Kerch Strait, is carries a lot of geopolitical significance, for Russia, since it provides them a major trade route and a transport route, for their economic and military needs. The Kerch Strait, on which is constructed the Kerch Bridge, and then which connects the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea. The Black Sea, they say, is Russia's strategic backyard, also called as Russia's lake. So this is the geostrategic, the geopolitical and geoeconomic significance of this region. It's a strategic point. Just on the lines of your, Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, the Malacca Straits, in the similar manner, it is very, very important. Now, if you look at the students, the Kerch Bridge, across the Kerch Strait, opened in 2018 by Russian President Putin, It also symbolizes Russia's control over Crimea, annexed in 2014, It holds symbolic importance for Russia as it provides a direct connectivity between the mainland and the annexed Crimea, Now, students, if you look at this annexed Crimea, which was a issue, of discussion in 2014, about a decade back, 10 years back, The Kerch Bridge, the 12-mile crossing, is the only direct land link between Russia and Crimea, So this is your Russia, this is your Crimea, this is the Kerch Strait, the geopolitical hotspot, which has now become a theater of conflict. Now, students, if we can go back a decade, the event, or the event of Russia's annexation of Crimea, So before Russia, before 1989, before the USSR disintegration, we had one large USSR, Union of Soviet, Sovereign Socialistic Republic, Sovereign Socialist Russia, USSR, Your one large USSR, And then we saw the disintegration of USSR in the year 1989. And Russia being the largest region of USSR, that became an independent country. And after the disintegration of USSR, we had what is called the CIS region, the Commonwealth of Independent States, with Russia being the dominant nation. And all your Crimea, Georgia, Ukraine, we were all ex-Soviet republics, which are now separated from Russia and which are now independent nations. Naturally, Russia being a large power, being a P5 power of the UN Security Council, being a dominant military power, and yes, a formerly part of your Cold War era, heading the Eastern Bloc, a powerful nation, a civilizational power, a military power, always, wanted to dominate the region. Now, with these ex-Soviet republics, moving away from Russia and and now being independent nations, Russia does not want to lose its control over the ex-Soviet republics. Another reason, students, says NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, right, which is a 49-member bloc established in the year, I think 48 nations, which is established in the year 1949. The dominant nations being your transatlantic nations, US and UK, wanted to expand eastward into the Eurasian region, which was antagonistic to Russia's strategic interests. So slowly NATO was spreading itself eastward, and all the ex-Soviet republics were slowly coming into the fold of NATO. This was not, this was against the strategic interests of Russia. So Russia wants to have its strategic hold on the ex-Soviet republics like your Crimea, Georgia, right? So what it did in 2014 was it annexed Crimea, realizing the geostrategic and the locational significance of Crimea, right? And we had a big issue then, right? There was a lot of conflict, there was a lot of violence, right? Then we had a lot of military aggression, and eventually Russia being a powerful nation, right, annexed Crimea in 2014, right? From that point onwards, there has been a lot of antagonism between, which was also there earlier, but this further triggered the divergence of the differences, right, the disputes between NATO and Russia. So now with the Russia-Ukraine war since 1 year and it taking different turns, right, Russia wanted to have a hold over this region, right, which is of great significance for them. The Kerch Bridge Attack. For significance of the Kerch Bridge for Russia, naturally I've told you it's a connectivity project or a connectivity region, right? It carries a lot of geolocational significance, right? Establishing connectivity, logistical supply link, for its energy needs, right? Because Russia is a resource-rich nation and is a resource economy and is one of the major energy exporters in the world, which is part of which is, though not part of OPEC, right? It is one of the largest energy producing nations in the world. And strategic vulnerability, naturally, right? Crimea and these regions, right, though are within the strategic fold of Russia, they are its soft belly or underbelly. That is, they are vulnerable for attack, right? Especially NATO trying to spread its footprint. So this region is vulnerable. So it is very important for Russia to have its strategic, have Crimea and have these regions in their strategic fold, right? Then I've told you, right, it is of great strategic importance to Russia, this region, right? The Kerch Strait is a strait, if you look at the geographical part, right, if you explain the geography of the Kerch Strait, it is a strait in the Eastern Europe which connects the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. It has also been called the Straits of Yenikale after the Yenikale fortress in Kerch. This is its geographical and historical significance. Then, student significance of the Black Sea for Russia. I have told you, Black Sea is one region which is a geopolitical hotspot and it is strategically very, very significant for Russia, right? If Russia wants to maintain its regional hegemony, right, protecting the Black Sea, right, or Black Sea within its strategic fold or within its strategic calculus, is very, very important for them, right? Both militarily and strategically and diplomatically also, right? During the Cold War period, only NATO member Turkey served as a counterbalance to the Soviet Union in the Black Sea, which was also occasionally referred to as the Soviet Lake. As I've told you, Black Sea is considered by Russia as its own strategic backyard and was also known as Russia Lake or the Soviet Lake. Turkey, which is a member of NATO, right, which spreads in both Europe and Asia, has been one country which has acted as a counterbalancing force to Russia in the region, right? Naturally, being a part of NATO, right, it was also the strategy of the NATO bloc to use Turkey as a strategic rebalancing force in the region against Russia. Counterbalancing or strategic rebalancing in the region. Russia depends on the Black Sea for access to the Mediterranean Sea and beyond. I've told you, right, the logistical and the connectivity significance of the Black Sea for Russia and to stamp its regional hegemony. The Black Sea's proximity to the Russian heartland means that a considerable part of European Russia could be within the range of US sea and land-based intermediate range missiles, right? As I've told you, right, NATO's eastward expansion, right? Eastward expansion into the Eurasian region. And this is where, right, there is this strategic disputes between Russia and NATO. Russia trying to have a strategic hold over its ex-Soviet republics located in the Eurasian region, and NATO trying to expand its strategic footprint. So this is kind of a strategic rivalry, a theater of conflict between two major powers, right? Of course, USA, right, leading the NATO bloc, and Russia. And students, both USA and Russia are part of a UN Security Council, the P5 nations, the big powers, right, the global powers, right? Yeah. Hence, Russia justifies annexation of Crimea in 2014 as necessary to prevent the strategic balance from shifting, right, decisively in NATO's favor, right? I've told you, Crimea is one region, which we explained by showing the map, has great geostrategic significance. So Russia's strategic hold, or Russia bringing Crimea within its strategic calculus, is very important for stopping the eastward expansion of NATO or the increasing footprint of NATO in the Eurasian region. And then students, the cause of conflict, right? Shared history, emotional exploitation of people, the balance of power, and acts as a buffer, right? So all these are geopolitical hotspots, right? Theaters of conflict, right? Where they say what takes place is what is called shadow boxing, right? So though they don't directly fight, right? So it is kind of a shadow war where proxy wars are waged by these big powers. In this case, it is your Russia and NATO, right, led by USA, right? And this region being the strategic pivot, right, or the point where the conflict is taking place, right? Shared history, I've told you, right? The USSR, and then your emotional exploitation of people, right? Naturally, right? USSR, right? So people were together, right? The emotional connect between them, the cultural connect between them, but now they've disintegrated. So a lot of emotional uprising would be there, right? A lot of emotional diversity, emotional conflicts, right? All these will culminate into bigger issues. Balance of power, which I've already told you, the strategic rebalancing, right? And acts as a buffer, right? So between two big powers, right, do these kind of proxy wars. There have to be certain regions or geostrategic locations which will act as a buffer or the shock absorber, right? And this is one region, right? So we call this as the buffer region. Like these, there are many other regions in the world which act as buffers, right? Or shock absorbers, right? Then India's stand, right? Now India, is defined as a middle power. India is one nation which has got political strength, economic strength being the 5th largest economy in the world, right? Now we are diplomatically strong, right? And we are militarily strong. Then India is a regional power, let's say in the Asian region, right? And we are slowly evolving as a global leader, right? So India's stand on various regional and global issues gains lot of significance. And on top of that, the broader context of India-Russia special and strategic relationship is of utmost significance. Russia-India relationship, as you know, students, right, is very strong. They say India and Russia are natural allies, dependable allies, and both are trusted partners. They have trust in each other, right? So India's stand on this issue becomes very, very important. And India also, at the same time, has to soft balance ties between USA and Russia. So let us see what has been India's stand in this context, right? India is no more a fence sitter. We'll have to be part of the global policy deriving apparatus, right? So we'll have to show solutions to the various issues which are there regionally and globally, right? Okay, so India's during a UNSC, United Nations Security Council meeting in May 2021, India signaled its backing for the traditional partner Russia on the Ukrainian issue, right? Though we took a stand, right? We were on the side of Russia, but India always wanted to have a peaceful solution, right? A solution arrived through dialogue and discussion, right? So it said that differences that should be resolved and differences should not widen and turn into disputes. So India's role in soft balancing, right, also signals India's diplomatic maneuverability and diplomatic maturity. Yeah. So India has advocated political and diplomatic solutions, right? Last November, about 6 months back, India voted against Ukrainian-sponsored resolution in the UN that condemned alleged human rights violations in Crimea, right? So this is very important. This signals India's special and strategic partnership, and both of us are natural, dependable, and trust, and two partners who have imposed trust in each other, right? And we have a special 2+2 partnership with Russia. That is, right, based on the two pillars of defense and external affairs. And of course, the underlying economic engagement, right? So in this context, right, India, did not take a stand against the UN sponsor or against Russia favoring the Ukrainian resolution, right? India has abstained on all the three votes so far on the Ukrainian crisis at the UN GNA since the Russian invasion, right? India has also expressed the hope that it can use its G20 presidency to bring peace, right? Now this is very important, right? Russia is part of G20, India is part of G20, and this year, it is India's presidency of G20, right? So India feels that, it can use the G20 platform to resolve the Russia-Ukrainian issue. But if you've seen the latest students, I think about 1 or 2 days back, right, President Putin and Xi Jinping of China, right, have declined the invitation to attend the G20 meeting. So India's efforts in using the G20 platform, right, on deliberating on the issue and deriving solutions now seems to be a bit difficult. But let us wait and watch what will be the progress on this issue. Okay, students, then, the present geopolitics with reference to the Russia-Ukraine war, right? Naturally, increased focus on security and defense, trust deficit, and the China factor, right? Yes, students, right? Naturally, this being a geopolitical hotspot, security and defense dimensions are very important, right? Trust deficit, right? International relations, students, right? Placing trust is very, very important, but now there seems to be a trust deficit. And, right, the role of China, which is now a regional power and reckoned to be global power. So Russia and China on one axis. They say the Russia, China, Pakistan, Iran axis, right? So Russia, China axis. And their stand, right? So China coming to the side of Russia, or Russia, let's say, moving into the lap of China. So this is going to be, right, tough, diplomatic negotiation for India. Since we also have a Russia, India, China strategic triangle. And all three are your Asian powers. So India's stand becomes very, very important, and a lot of these issues are there which have to be carefully looked into. Yes, students, right? So the broader context of the Russia-Ukraine war, right? Then dating back 10 years to your Russia's annexation of Crimea, harping on its or standing on its strategic perspective, right? And then in the event, the Kerch Bridge being attacked, right? And India's stand on the broader, Russia-Ukraine issue, and what kind of solutions would it provide? So this is a very important topic from your examination perspective, right? Thank you, students, for the patient hearing.